to order. There was no public comment, so we're going to move straight into discussing the agreement with the TCI for the Jonesboro property. Is there anybody that
Mr. Petzl and the team,
Mr. Petzl?
they have some information to provide, and I'm sure answer any questions that any board member may have.
Good evening.
Hello.
This has been a challenging project, and hoping to present what we have researched and our findings over the last month or so. It's taken that long to kind of run everything down and get our mind around what is it that we have here. So, thank you for selecting us to do this. I love these challenges. They're interesting, they're fun, they're rewarding. At the end of the day, we plan to get them sold. So we don't know who yet, or how long it's going to take, but we have every confidence that will happen. We got a pretty good track record. And, remember when we took on the Boones Creek School, we were surprised how fast it sold. I'd like to take the credit for that, but I don't know that that's why it sold so quickly. But just to remind you, we had 3 buyers within the first 3 weeks. And all 3 buyers were buying it for a different reason. So we don't know who's out there. We don't know who's looking. We don't know why they're looking. Well, we have to be, as good Boy Scouts, we have to be prepared for whatever comes our way and be prepared to deal with it. But because of that, we spent a lot of time this last month doing a lot of research, understanding the property and trying to figure it out so that Ed Mahaffey and Chris Ramsey be on the front lines dealing with the buyers with my support. And we don't know who they are yet. So we do have a strategy that we'll talk about here later for y'all's consideration. I hope this is more of a discussion, because I have a lot of questions. I probably have more questions than I do answers. Does anyone have a burning question on your mind that you want to get off your mind and ask me to start out with? Be glad to address it. I can.
Jerry, one thing I had, and of course I've known you for years, the only thing that I don't really understand is on the commission part.
Okay.
I cannot see a buyer being paid by the buyer on his commission.
Well, we experienced that a lot. I mean, the business has changed in the last year. You know, all commissions are negotiable, and that's something that we deal with up front. And it's not been a problem in our business. But it has to be negotiated, and that's something that the brokers have to negotiate. And they have to put it in their proposal when we receive it. So we don't have the old shared compensation across the board like it used to be a year ago. We don't practice that anymore. We negotiate, commissions are negotiable, and we may be paying part of theirs. We don't know.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
But
I don't have a problem the way it's written as long as us as a board only pay 6 total.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. I just seen where you had in here the T-size not offering cooperative compensation, which I don't understand that. Then the selling broker must be negotiating a separate agreement with the buyer. I just don't want a buyer to come along and say, I want X, and you don't have X to share, and then you come to us and say, well, we need another % or 2 to make this deal work.
Well, we don't know. We'll have to negotiate.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I just want to make sure what our percentage is on this board total.
I've had deals already that buyer is agreeing to pay the broker a X number of dollars, and then the broker tries to negotiate with us for part of our fee.
No, I have to.
It's totally different.
I have
We
to,
don't
I've
know what
seen that.
It's just a new.
Well, I really don't care what it is, as
Arena.
long as we don't pay
That's what I'm getting at.
6%,
That's what I'm
period,
getting
that's
at.
all you get.
But I don't
Y'all
want to,
do whatever the hell you wanna do with the rest of it.
but I don't want to lose a
6%.
sale based upon extra
Yeah, there ain't gonna be
percentage
no
on that.
extra.
Is what I was
Thing I can tell you, we are not gonna let the commission stand in the way of getting a deal done. Our primary responsibility is represent you the best way we can. Our responsibility to ourselves is to make as much money as we can. That's the way business works, any business.
Very understandable.
And, again, we're not putting out there, we're gonna pay that, we'll negotiate, so.
Okay.
Any other questions? Does that answer your question?
So my question is are you listing it separately or listing it together? Because there's a
Let's see
total
the-
sum of 5.4, and then there's 2 other process. So I didn't know if it was how you were marking it separately, marketing it together, marking it will subdivide. I don't.
If I may, I'd like to delay answering that question until later on,
Okay.
because we do it both ways. So,
This would be for a 1-year contract. Is this for a 1-year term? So my question, or what I would like to see, town of Jonesboro excluded for the entire 1 year.
we have excluded town of Jonesboro forever.
Oh, you have?
Agreement, yes, sir.
Okay. I thought it was like.
Yeah, what was the 120
or
days?
something.
There was a draft that you may have received, that was for a specified period of time. I changed it last night,
Okay,
Okay, I see it now.
okay?
that'll work. Thank you. Yeah, I have not seen this draft.
And we are gonna actively be trying to sell it
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
and
yes,
compete with them.
yes.
That's in your best interest.
Yes.
Yes.
So, yeah, if something comes up, then we'll notify the board, let them be aware, we have a potential interest. Right? I mean, they have to vote on any deal
Yeah, they'd
anyway.
have to submit like anybody else,
Yeah.
a letter of intent or a
Yeah.
purchase sale, negotiate. We will represent you in that for a reduced compensation fee, 3%, I think is what we had talked about.
But if we,
If you want us to represent you in the negotiating with the town, otherwise we're hands off.
And we just negotiate ourselves on that, correct? So if we were to sell it to Jonesboro,
Yeah.
we negotiate it ourselves, there's no fee for that.
Okay.
I got you.
And one other question, you got for 120 days beginning October 14th and in February 14th, only the
That's another-
unapproved portion?
Yeah, that's the old, that's the old.
Okay, this is the
copy.
one that's uploaded that
Here.
I'm looking at now.
Here's the new copy.
Well, I don't know how everybody else feels, but I feel like we've got 8 acres of land up there to sell. I figured we ought to price him so much an acre and let him do whatever happens. I ain't worried about streets, I ain't worried about none of that. The way I look at it, I've got 8 acres of property up there, let's price it so much an acre and go from there.
The risk of doing that is how it gets cut up.
Don't matter to me.
You don't care?
I don't
Somebody
care.
wants to buy 1 acre out of the middle of the site, you're all right with that?
Well, not really.
Well,
I mean, I understand what
I
you're
would not
saying there
recommend
about that, yeah.
We're gonna try to talk about all that stuff.
Well, we had to put restrictions, we couldn't just say you can't have just this part, you gotta take it all, or, you know.
It gets complicated.
This section and this section, or 2 sections or something.
Another question is, are you gonna restrict any users from buying the property? A lot of smoke shops now are building freestanding buildings because landlords won't lease to them because they're detrimental to their shopping center and restricted them out. do you wanna have some restrictions
I think
about certain users that we can't, we need to know that representing you on the front line.
I think we need to restrict against school use for that property. So we may have somebody move in here and start school right there. Or shoot
Especially a
themselves in
charter
the
school.
foot. Yeah, like a
These are
charter
things-
school.
Yeah, these are,
We need to take that one out of the equation.
these are some things we've talked about, but we need some decisions from you all, and direction. We know what to do.
And that's one, I think, an exclusion we need to.
I
We
don't,
all.
I don't think we can stop.
Whatever you.
Yeah, I
I think
don't
legally
think
we
you
can't.
can.
Well, yeah.
I think you can restrict
Well,
the
businesses
property.
do that.
No, I'm saying when we own a school, there's something in the law that they have an opportunity for
like,
I'd like to look into that for
a
sure.
fair amount of market value.
Didn't you check into that, Jerry?
What's that?
If there is a law saying we cannot restrict another school buying it?
I don't know.
That was something that occurred in the legislature a couple of years ago, and that if the property's sitting around the school, they've got the ability to come in and buy it. I remember that going around in the legislature for discussion. But whether it passed or not, I don't know, but it was an item for discussion.
My guiding light is the,
They don't get it for
is the
free.
uses
Right.
allowed by the zoning of the property. And if that's not adequate, you need to review that and decide what you want to have private restrictions.
Right, yeah, I'd like to look into deep restriction against another school.
I don't know if
It
there's
may or may
private
not.
restrictions on the property.
Probably there's Scott Bennett, that question.
Scott will know.
Or that's
Yeah,
our,
we'll,
that's our school board attorney, should know that pretty readily.
Any other questions?
Do you think, what do you think the odds are of us getting curb cuts on those lots? You know,
I'm not a gambler.
there's both ways down through there, so, but then you've got restriction of sight coming over that hill, so that might be the state's. But, you know, but then you've got precedent for others down there that have it, so.
Yeah, I don't know what the desires of the town are in terms of, curb cuts, because my experience, the town has to recommend it to the state before they'll take any action. So it starts with the town. What does the town want?
Who was the gentleman that told us about the curb cuts, Jerry? Remember the one that was talking about curb cuts?
I think it was the surveyor, he just,
Okay.
didn't he mention it?
He felt like that it would be a hard.
Surveyor felt
Because
like
it was,
would.
the state of Tennessee would cheat on.
Zoning guy from Jonesboro came.
Was that who it
Yeah,
was?
he came here with a surveyor, and he said he felt like based on the recent experience with the state, that they would not be able to get them.
so the road right there, and when we sell this property, is somebody gonna own that road that cuts in?
No, be town of Jonesboro.
Okay,
I'm gonna try to cover a lot of this
the
stuff.
drive, like,
Well, go ahead,
the
we're
drive that
sitting here
goes
listening to
into
what
the
you got to say.
And we have a PowerPoint, there's a number, a page number in the right bottom corner. And so if you have a question, you wanna come back to that later on, or you can reference that particular page, cause there's about 40 pages. We got a lot of information covered. We did it last night on Zoom, it took us an hour. So, I don't know how much time you've allotted for this. It could be a couple of hours. Up to you. So maybe we start?
please.
Again, thanks for the challenge. Oh, I got the deal here. Where do you shoot it at? Okay, This is the, total property, the 8.67 acres according to the survey, approximate boundary lines. It's a great piece of real estate. Let's get used to this clicker here. Half of it is great, the other half is challenging. The one that's great is the green, we call it the green field. And then school is a challenge. The boundary survey. It looks like the surveyor divided the property into 3 tracts. Lot number 3, which is what we are proposing to list and sell for you. And then there's lot 2, which is the athletic area. And then there's the bus repairs and the, was that a middle school?
Mm-hmm.
Will that continue to be a school?
The elementary school in the back.
The reason I ask that is that if we have a restaurant that sells alcohol, would that be allowed? Because I know there's distances.
Childcare center, and then there's a grant for the regional childcare with the First Tennessee Development District, but the discussion is, in the grant is for a childcare facility, it's not a school.
So we
I don't know that
need
those
to kind of-
zoning requirements are.
We have some sit-down restaurants in mind that we want to approach. I know they sell wine and beer and
You know, just thinking, hey,
liquor.
our intent is to retain that property as school system property for some function. But 10 years from now, we need, probably need to at least think ahead that it could be, down the road, there could be, instruction. It's not the plan, but just.
Well, right now in the plan the board has been presented, there's a grant that the First Tennessee Development District got to hold up or support a child care center in a portion of that old elementary school.
So that's gonna be a
About
child care
4 or
center.
5 of the classrooms. But that's a child care center, it's under different rules than a school.
So what is, if legally you can have alcohol, is there any other reason why alcohol couldn't be sold in a restaurant? I'm not talking about a bar or honky tonk, I'm talking about
Yeah, a restaurant, I
know,
mean, we will check with our, and I'll have our board attorney respond to
Really
that
need
question,
to
but
make that.
I don't believe so.
The store right across the street had alcohol.
There's a distance from the property line to
Yeah.
800 feet, I think, from the front door to front door.
I'm sorry,
It's 800 feet, isn't it?
I
Front door to front door. I think it is, but I'm not 100% sure.
it's a distance, I don't know, it's from the bar, from the door, from the property line, there's a formula. But as far as you know, the town would not have any opposition to it.
Just a quick search, it says that it would be determined at local county zoning. So that'd be a local county zoning issue, or a city of Jonesboro issue.
I guess a liquor store would have to be licensed by the town to sell liquor.
And for childcare center, it says it would be a local municipality or local county government issue.
So. On the survey, right below that red line is a proposed right-of-way from Forest all the way to the property line for a street. We were told in the initial meeting that the cost of that road is to be paid by whoever buys this property, which has been a mind twister for us to figure out how to do that. We've got a plan. And is that still, is that coming from the school board, or is that coming from the town, or where does that, what's it?
That came from the school board.
School board. So you want to tie it into where Powell's and Bojangles is?
I didn't think that come from us, I thought that come from the town, and we have to agree to it.
No, he's asking who pays.
Who's paying for it?
No, where'd it come from initially?
It comes from the
Yeah, I'm
town.
just curious where it came,
It
because I'll
comes
be
from the
asking
town.
that.
They're the
We
ones
asked
that's
them
saying that they wanted to see a street come down through
Oh,
there.
yeah.
It
And then
wasn't us,
Who's mandated that?
the
then-
town.
So the town wanted the street, or allowed the street, and then we asked that whoever buys it to pay for it.
And I think while that come into play, if they could not get curb cuts.
Is that
Right.
negotiable?
It's all price.
The way I look at it,
Depends.
like I said, I got 8 acres to sell.
Yeah, but what fixed to that 8 acres is the cost of building that road.
We're not in the road business. I think that should be
But the
brought up
funding,
before
the funding has to come from the proceeds of that road or the wire.
Looks to me like we're donating the land anyway. I mean, it
Not,
looks, it,
not part of lot 2, that's outside of the property line.
So you're factored in the per acre amount for potentially for cost of developing that road. Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, let me talk about that later.
Okay.
I don't wanna get too complicated. I wanna try to keep it simple and save that the best for last. So, the next slide. Go back a second. See that triangle there on the top of the screen coming off of Jackson? That's a T, my understanding, that is a T-dot right away.
Could somebody point that out?
That's the front entrance to
Front
the,
end.
the middle school.
Right there.
Yeah, right in the center of the property.
It looks like a cone.
See,
See the marker lines there?
Yeah, between
Above.
Bojangles and that.
No,
No,
No.
where the.
The very
middle school
center
is.
of the,
Where we,
center left of the.
That's our road going into the bus
going
garage.
into the middle
The
school.
top of the screen there above the elm.
Look back here, Eric, point it back up there again, right there.
That's your entrance.
Okay.
That's our entrance going in.
See, that aligns with the deceleration lane here that T-dot put in, I guess, whenever that road was built. And you got a deceleration lane here, so that's probably not movable. So. On to the next one. And there was no provision on this survey for a right-of-way that I saw from the tip of that cone to here. There is here, but not from there to there. So was the intent not to have a access street from Jackson to, I call the bypass street in back of the school?
That's what I was asking about.
It's something to think about.
Well, we were supposed to
I'll be here all
use,
night.
No,
So, school building size.
that was my question.
There's a good picture of the school.
Is that going to be a road? Is that going to be, is that going to be owned by somebody?
It would
Because
be
he
owned by
seemed
the
to be-
board.
But,
What I
School's got,
understood was, is that in negotiation and purchase, there'd be development of that road, would be shared use because of the access to the back of those properties, you know, so that, because they may not and likely will not have access from the Lebanese, so they have to have, from the existing access, be able to come behind and in.
so we would not be able to use that road that we were just talking about anymore. We're gonna have to pull around behind like the road that we're talking about leaving, correct?
See, that's gonna limit your potential buyers there, because if you're shooting them around behind the property of that street, your access is, it's not good for those green space lots.
Right, so that's what I was saying, is that road going to be owned by somebody if we sell that piece? Or should this piece right here be that access road that we're talking about?
Well, let's go on, I've got some illustrations of all that, and maybe to get some clarity. These are just some of the things that we've been wrestling with, how to deal with. How does that impact the value? How does that impact the marketability? It's just, the school building itself is 66,680 square feet, and we got the property assessor's office to come out the day that we went through the building. They actually measured it up, and gave us a copy of the sketch, which was very nice of it. So we know that the square footage is correct. You can see on the roof, some of the areas that apparently have leakage and will need some repairs in the future by somebody. Next slide is kind of how we are looking at this. We're looking at it as two tracks. One track we're calling the school property. It's on 3.5 acres. It's circled with a blue line. And then the green field is, the border is the red line. And a couple of things about that.
How much is that in?
Maybe we've already started discussion. Will that be a public or a private street? And with the mandate of building the streets, does whoever buys this property, they have to build that street coming in from Jackson to the bypass? My assumption is this, the answer is yes. And so we have addressed that when we value the property.
The school's 3, so 3 and 4, 3 and 5.
So you're saying to keep that street there?
Yes, sir.
That's, yeah, that
No question.
makes sense.
No question. That's a sketch of the first and second floor of the school building. Now, the burden that has on the site of the school property is 66,000 square feet. If private enterprise buys that property and they want to convert it to something, my belief is, the town would require that they be in conformance with the town parking requirements, which is usually 4 to every 1,000 square feet, so you'd have to have 264 parking spaces. There's not enough land. Can't do it. So one option is, if you look at the center part of that property, of the building, if you demoed the left wing and the right wing and kept the middle part, it's about 16,000 square feet per floor, or about 32,000 square feet total. You'd have to have 128 parking spaces. That's doable. So this suggests that you take the building and do that. Whether it's financially feasible or not, that's another question. But physically, you could use part of the building that's there, but you'd have to add a field of parking spaces. This is just a room layout of the school. I know you've all been in there, but it's got a real wide corridor. There'd be, if you use that part, there's no exterior access to it, have to be created. You have a large, it's kind of like a mini mall, if you will. So you're figuring out how to use those rooms for economic revenue would be the challenge, and what would be the cost to do all this conversion and demolition new HVAC systems for the individual rooms, electrical system, plumbing, how do you get, bathrooms, you know, all that. So it really runs the cost up. And the financial feasibility down. Neighborhood zoning. Can't do two things at one time. There's the zoning map. The front 300 feet deep, the site is about 300 feet deep. And so it's B1, same as the back part of the property. And the dark red is B2. B1 is more of a small neighborhood scale mix of retail and services intended to serve nearby residences. Typical permitted uses include drugstores, barber, beauty shops, laundry pickup, laundromats, gifts and flower shops, shoe repair, hardware, daycare, professional services, restaurants, retail bakeries, financial institutions, churches, cemeteries, service stations. Question mark. Think about, do you want a service station on that site? What you want, it's your property. As far as I know, you can restrict it any way that you want, subject to your attorney confirming that. Do you want a 2-acre fueling station there? Do you care? If we're approached, how do we handle that? That's why I'm asking these questions. And the difference in B3 is more like a Lowe's, where you have warehouses and you have other type of buildings, etc. It can also have all the uses allowed in B1. Some of the uses in B3 are not allowed in B1, but all the uses in B1 are allowed in B3. There's the B3, some storage yards, truck terminals, wholesale, funeral homes, animal hospitals. School demo and environmental, we tasked Evelyn Green, a demo company, to come out and do a walkthrough to give us an estimate or budget. What would it cost to demo this building? And look at the environmental, identify the environmental issues, and what would it cost to cure those? And the budget for the building was $416,000, and the environmental was $105,000. There's really not much environmental issues with the building that we observed. The main thing is the asbestos tile on the floors. And Jimmy Wingfield did a mold air test back in 2019, and it was okay. So there's no environmental hazards that were obvious to us or to the people that looked at it. Site use concept designs. Thank you for investing in this. Here's a site map that shows a 50,000 square foot strip, I call it strip center. It could be retail, mixed use, office, whatever. 50,000 square feet. Typically, you get 10,000 square feet for every acre. That's how we came up with the 50,000. And it was, and the parking was supported. Where the school is, you could put a 35,000 square foot building, and there's enough land to support the parking for that, 130 spaces or so. So going back to my comments earlier about you could take the core part of the school and demo each wing and end up with 32,000 square feet, you can see that the site would have enough parking to support that. The challenge is it would be a two-story building, you got ADA, you got elevators, you got a lot of other things that come into play. And, but it physically, you could do that. By the way, we used Gary Waddell, everybody knows Gary, he's a civil engineer in Jonesboro, the benchmark design to do these designs. I gave him the challenge. One of the things that I've observed is if you see that street that comes through, the school encroaches on that future right of way. It comes straight in. You see that? And then on the other side, if the school was left, my understanding, the town could use the school like it is because they don't have, I don't know if Jonesboro's this way, but other towns that I work in, the town is exempt for their own ordinances. Which is kind of an interesting concept. They can do what they want to do. So I assume Jonesboro may not be any different.
They shut down, but they still get paid.
So the site could, in the Greenfield area, we call it site number 2. Excellent site, excellent site. And a couple things is this private, I guess it's a private street, driveway where the buses would come in or leave, that goes away. The road the bypass road in the back would eliminate 15 to 20 of the parking spaces in that existing school, because it goes right across the front parking lot. So if there's already adequate parking on site for the user, that's not an issue. Otherwise, more parking spaces would have to be created somehow, somewhere.
Get to the point where, what you think it's worth.
Pardon me?
I said, can you get to the point to where what you think it's worth?
In a little bit.
Because I don't see us, I'm not the developer.
Right, neither am I.
I want them to, if they're interested in it, make us an offer.
We have to deal with them, that's why
Well,
we
that's-
have to have this knowledge so that we can properly represent you the best way we can.
Okay.
And I know them. And the truth is, I've already talked to 4, one down in Cincinnati, one down in Knoxville, one down in Bristol, and a local. And it was interesting individually. The reason they weren't interested in this property is, for them, there's no question, that the school gets scraped off the site. They didn't want to have that association with the community, because there may be something sacred about that school. I don't know. They don't know. But they're not willing to risk their reputation to find out. I'm just being straight up with you. Which I thought was really interesting. I did not expect that.
Well, how much will it cost? You said $550 to take the school off the property. All right, how much do we gain taking it off? I mean, you sent out these,
If I can wait till I get into the
Okay.
numbers later,
all right.
because what I want you to think about is some of the challenges that school has so that you all can talk about what you may want to do with that school or not do with that school. Your decision. And the only way to eliminate the responsibility of a developer not taking on the reputation of coming into Jonesboro and bulldozing the school's been there since 1940 or 50, that half the population in Jonesboro went to school, were educated in it. It's for y'all to do it, just like you did Boone's Creek. Not suggesting that, I'm just pointing out facts for y'all to think about. Next slide, yes. Okay, this is taking the property and dividing it into sites. Get 6 sites along the frontage. The 3.5 acres where the school's located could be divided into 2 1- and 3-acre sites, which are really nice sites and would be attractive to national type users. And then the 6 sites on the other side, they're 1.25 acres, and they could be as small as the Pals and Bojangles, but you could get 5 sites on there because they would only be 145 foot wide by 300 feet deep. They're not wide enough. So we had to go to the next size up. The other flexibility that this creates is you could take 2 sites, 1.25 acres, have a 2.5 acre site for a 2.5 acre user. Or you could have a 5 acre user. Whatever the combination might be. Values are the same, but it's how they can be merchandised and marketed. Here's a more of a subdivision map, if you will. Those wiggly lines show the topography, the contour of the property. You can see on sites 1 and 2 where the school is, it's fairly level. But from a development perspective, I would guess that if that school was not there, that site would get graded down, so it's probably more like 2 feet above Jackson instead of 2, 4, 6, 8 or 10 feet above Jackson. Sites 3, 4, 5, and 6, excellent sites. Balance out easy with grading. The entire site, mass grading, it's clay. It's clay dirt. It's not stuff that you have to go in and blast out and all that stuff. Shale. So it's a great site from my perspective. Or any kind of development, I don't care what it is.
Jerry, Jerry, I got one thought I want before I forget, because it comes and goes.
Sir?
As far as our utilities to the elementary school, the sewer, the power, they were supposed to mark that on our survey. I don't know that they did or no, but that's something we're gonna have to take into account, which way our sewer runs out, which way our water runs out of this property we're keeping. We may have to have some sort of an easement for that, so we can get it to the street or whatever. That's something we need to keep in mind.
We looked into that but nobody knew.
Yeah,
Fortunately, my nephew is the guy that goes out and locates for the municipalities where these lines, so I paid him to come out here and locate where the lines were.
okay, good.
And he happened to know the right people in the town and in the county, so I have maps of the sewer and water. I'll show you here in a minute.
Okay, thank you.
This was a challenging project.
Oh, yeah, you're doing your homework.
Okay, next on the agenda, the street cost. Let's go to this is, let me go back. Street cost, public street cost estimate. That estimate, we had, Summers Taylor give us a lineal foot cost estimate. There's about 1,400 lineal feet, including the street that comes off of Jackson that goes to the bypass street and the street that goes from Forest to the edge of the property line, about 1,400 feet. For $550 a foot, we got 800,000 to do that. At public street standards, and I don't know what the town would require. Could it be a driveway? I did not speak to the town. It was not the right time to talk about that because it's all hypothetical. So, but a developer will talk, we'll have to do that. The street cost could be cut in half if the street only came in from Forest and stopped, where it stops now. You cut in half. But then and the right of way could be left there, but still, you want somebody that's buying this property to pay for that. Otherwise, it comes out of your net sale proceeds if you have to do that. That might be a negotiating tool if the town comes back and to buy the property is a price plus you put the streets in at your expense, because they may have access to grants and other means of money that would burden the town. So, just a thought. Public utility, here we go. Here's the school, you can hardly see it, it's real faint. Here's the school. And here's the sewer. Goes to this line here. This comes from the bus station, or the bus maintenance. Bus maintenance is here. It goes to here, then it comes out and continues going. So the athletic field is here. Okay. So the school site is good for sewer, assuming that the sewer wasn't put in 1940, because it may need some repairs, may need replaced. You know, it's the old cast iron. You know, it's old. I got a house that was built 1958. I just experienced that in my own house. And it's expensive to replace it, I tell you. Running through my septic tank. So, whoops.
So is the elementary property hitting that sewer line there beside the bus access? Is that where it goes out from the elementary school?
It doesn't show, but I'm sure there's a line, I would guess. It has to be a line from the elementary school to that. It's not on this map for some reason, I don't know why. It's gotta go someplace, you gotta connect it someplace. So. Here is the sewer along the front. Oops. Sorry. Sewer. Pals. Make sure that I'm right on this. This is, Pals,
Bojangles.
Pals, and Bojangles, right here. So here's the 5-acre green field. So to serve those, you have to extend the sewer from here along the highway frontage. Not a big deal. Who's gonna pay for it? I heard that Jonesboro has a material agreement where the developer pays for the materials and they put the sewer line in. Anybody know? That's what I heard. So, but if you sell a lot in the middle of the green field, how you gonna get sewer there? So truthfully, sewer needs to be in now. It needs to be ran now. Somebody has to invest in it. And if a developer buys a whole 5 acres and puts a 50,000 square foot strip center, he just needs one connection, that's not a big deal. So, these are things, again, that we have to be prepared for because we don't know who's gonna be knocking on our door or whose door we're gonna be knocking on. These are the type of conversations that you have. And we wanna represent y'all the best way we can. Well, we wanna get a deal done. Water lines. See this line right here? And this line? This follows that private road off of Jackson. So these water lines have to be moved because they're in the middle of that lot when this private drive is abandoned and grubbed up. These
You're
water
across the
lines
street
have
there,
to be.
Aren't you across the street there, Jerry?
Pardon me?
Aren't you across the street?
Yeah.
You're talking about back this way, right?
321.
This is let's see. This
That's
is
the one you're
elementary
talking about
school.
need to be
This
moved.
line right here, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This line right here, yeah, this crosses the highway. This line right here, but there's a line over here that goes in. There's two of them. This only shows one. This is the water line from the school, I believe. This is from the bus area.
So that water line's running right down the center of that green space, right?
Or at least in track 5 and 6.
Well, for somewheres in that green space, there's a water line running through it.
So it just has to be rerouted. Not a big deal, not deal killers.
It's a lot easier to deal with than sewer.
Huh?
It's a lot easier to deal with than sewer.
Yeah, the sewer's pretty easy too. It's just, really is. It's just who's gonna pay for it?
Now, here's the problem.
No,
Okay?
What is this gonna take out?
we'll not take out, relocate.
Relocate.
But you'd think that Chapman's Reserve is gonna have water coming in off the Main Street side. You'd think.
Next. Marketability of 8.67 acres at a single site. We did some research and I was shocked at what we found. I'm gonna share it with you. We know the market pretty well, the whole region. That's what we do every day. And we observe things that are going on. So the last 24 to 30 months, there's been 27 sales of commercial property on small land. On 4-lane highways, Bristol, Kingsport, Johnson City, and my firm was involved with some of those, so I know them very well. 27. Of the 27, 15 were sales where the buyer bought the property, raised the building, scraped the site, and redeveloped with a new use. I'll give you an example. We sold Mitch Walters a 4-acre site on Stone Drive in Kingsport, had 2 hotels on and a restaurant where somebody got killed. And he bought that, bulldozed it all, put a new Hyundai car dealership. Coca-Cola, old Coca-Cola, corporate building on North Road next to a car facility. It was built just like your school, interior block walls, exterior block walls, and they bought it, bulldozed it, and they expanded their car lot. I've got some other, in Jonesboro, the bank on the corner where Cookout is, remember that bank? They bought it, they bulldozed it, and built a new cook. That's what's going on all over this region because all the great locations have old buildings on them. And we're not expanding our territory into new greenfield areas. Of those 27, 5 of those sites were greenfield sites. They hadn't been built on before. And then 7 of them were, they bought the property, they remodeled, repurposed the building. Sold an old Winn-Dixie to Mitch Cox for $6 million on Stater Franklin, and he had a gym in there, and completely gutted it, converted it to a medical facility. I got a property right now that I'm representing in Kingsport, same thing. That's what. So I say that because that's what you have. So I think there is a strong demand for that property based on facts and based on trends, which is what we look at. Somebody out there may buy that property for that purpose of scraping the site and putting a new something on that. Who it is, what it is, I don't know. All I'm just suggesting is that is the trend that we have observed that is going on, and it's a fact. It's a fact. We don't have open spaces. And where we have open spaces, they don't have the demographics and traffic counts and all the other stuff that are important to support the economic vitality of what you can do with that property. So.
But you also said nobody's gonna touch a school because it's a community heirloom.
Pardon me?
You also said that nobody's gonna touch demolishing the school because it's a community heirloom.
Well, the first 4 said, I don't want to have anything to do with it. I don't know if that's typical or not, that's. If private developer buys that, in my opinion, the most that they can do is use the center core of that building and demolish the ends and end up with a 32,000 square foot, 2-story building to do something with. And then they gotta add 128 parking spaces. The town can use it like it is, I guess, and not add any parking. I don't know that. I'm just saying that's pretty common. Towns don't have to abide by their own ordinances. I called the building inspector out about that. He had a sign where we wouldn't be allowed to have one. He looked at me and smirked, he said, I'm the city, I can do what I wanna do. So, that's the world we live in. I won't tell you which town. So here is the 8.67 acre site as a whole. And I can tell you that our marketing strategy, which we have three, the very first strategy for the first 4 months is to offer it as a whole at one price. Because there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of stuff to do, and it really needs a developer. It really does. And maybe there's a developer out there that won't care, I don't know. The first four said no thank you. 3.5 acres, marketability of the old school. We've been talking about that. To the town, buy it like it is, use it as it is. I'm assuming, you know, they can add whatever parking they want or not. But private has to conform with the city's rules unless they can get a variance, a zoning variance. I don't know what the chance of that is. Every town's different. And usually it has to be a hardship case. Not connected to finances at all. So it costs too much, that's not a reason, that's not an excuse for a variance. So, I'm sort of sharing some facts why the school needs to be studied. There's the top of it, look at that. There's that rectangle. See it? Boom, boom, boom. You demo all this. You demo all this. That cures your setback requirement from the side property line. Gets rid of this encroachment. And then put your parking in the front and put it in the back.
Is that the
A
550,000?
32,000 square foot building.
Sorry, is that the
So-
550,000 that you want demoed, or is that all of it?
Pardon me?
Well, in some of the other slides, you said it was 550,000 to demo that. Is that,
The whole building.
that's the whole building?
I don't know.
That's the two newest parts of the whole.
You know, kind of rule of thumb, about $10 a square foot is for demo. So, okay. We all good? Marketability of the 4 greenfield sites. Fantastic. I don't know if you can see this, but here's the water line going to the meter. And then there's one over I really come down here at night, that, well, I couldn't believe all the traffic at 6 o'clock. It was amazing. That doesn't hurt that side at all, that's what they're looking for.
See you at 8 o'clock in the morning.
So, the green field's an easy deal. It's the other one that is challenging. Okay, numbers. I gotta take it slow. Our recommendation for marketing, merchandising this property is in 3 stages over the next year. Stage 1 would be 4 months and would be the 8.67 acre tract as a whole. By the way, how did we come up with what the acre values? Most of the sales that we researched sold between 600 and 800,000. And only of recent have we seen a sale for an acre and a quarter of $1 million, which was the Washington County Library in Gray that Stuart Taylor bought. And then we closed on a bank sale, bank lot. It was about an acre and a quarter in Exit 7, Bristol, Virginia, 3 weeks ago. Had a bank building on it. One of these 7 brew deals. Bought it for $950,000. So we're starting to see some spikes here and there. It's kind of hard, haven't seen them before. Is that, we don't know if that's a trend or not, but it influences our judgment that if there's a range between here and there, where are we today? We're here. Plus, we're trying to forecast what the asking price is so that we can negotiate. So, we want the highest value proposition that we can hopefully justify, knowing that we gotta negotiate. So, if you look at the top bar on this chart, so the first one is duration. That's how many months we are suggesting are in each stage. Stage 1 again is selling the 8.67 acres, asking 6.8 million, which is 764,000 an acre. And then the next block is a reduction of 10% for price negotiation. And then a commission, which we would earn to get a net sale price of $5,700,000. And then see that $1,350,000 below? That's the cost of putting the road in and either demoing the building or applying that money in negotiations towards repair of the existing building. So that's a 550 number and a 800 number combined. So if they negotiated, which I think they would, because why would they build a road outside their property line? That road, that bypass road, in my opinion, serves no value whatsoever to those greenfield lots. It's in the back. Question is, who benefits from that road? But it needs to be paid for out of the sale of these lots or out of the proceeds. So your net would be about $4,300,000 at the end of the day. Any response or comments on that? That clear as mud? Took us a long time to come up with this. So if we don't sell it in 4 months, we go to stage 2. We then relist the property
and we divide the value up to 2.8 million for the school on 3.5 acres, and 4 million for the green field, which is 6.8 million. Same thing with your discount, fees, your net is the same. It's just we're merchandising them differently. Instead of as a whole, we're merchandising two pieces. So we're looking at two buyers. The first one, we need one buyer. The second stage, we need two buyers. Follow me? What do we do when that QSR, stands for Quick Service Restaurant buyer, comes up and he wants to buy a lot right in the middle of the green field? My suggestion is, the only option we have to sell this, you gotta buy the whole 5 acres. What this will help us do is evaluate and attract buyers out there. They can still do a letter of intent, they can still make an offer, we can still present it. But our story is not dividing the property. Otherwise, you lose control of what you're doing. I have a client over in Kingsport, got 20 acres on Stone Drive, $10 million, 500 an acre. They won't divide it, period. Not only that, they won't only give the buyer 90 days to close. I can tell you, these type of buyers that will be attracted to this property, it's gonna be common, they're gonna want 180 days. They're gonna want 60 or 90 days due diligence, and then 60 or 90 to close. It's a long, that's part of what's coming, in my opinion. So at the end of 8 months, we still haven't sold anything. Then we look at offering it in sites maybe similar to what we have drafted at individual prices of sites ranging from $1 million to $1.4 million. And it's the same thing. If you negotiate 10% less, etc., you're going to come up with the same amount of money. So each stage, you end up with the same amount of money. It's just a different merchandising strategy. You see that? And we hope that we're able to accomplish the objective of stage 1 and let them fool with all the stuff that we've been talking about, and us scratching our head, how are we going to deal with this? That's why I don't recommend that we just put it out there, see what comes. I think it's bad strategy. You've got to have great property. And you can ruin it by making the wrong decisions up front at the wrong time with the wrong people. Seen it happen. So, what is your potential for the school board? Our estimate is 4 million to 4.4 million is what the potential net revenue is that we've estimated to yield out of this property that you have.
Can we discuss the 1.35
Sure.
for the demolition? It's on all these. I'm trying to learn as we do this, so we're giving them a discount off of their price, so that basically it pays for them to demo the building. Why are they not paying to do that? If we want to demo the building, we'd be
Somewhere
doing
along
it
the
now.
line, that money's gonna be accounted for. I don't know how the deal's gonna work. I remember hearing the town in your negotiations, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, they had an appraisal done, and then they came back with lower price because of the demo. That's what people do.
They won't buy as cheap as they can.
They find any kind of rationale to soften that price. I don't know where that's gonna come from, but we've been instructed that it's gotta come from the property. It's either gotta come from your pocketbook after closing, or the developer, gotta come from somewhere. But you're not gonna get it, probably. I know it's hard to understand, it's hard for me to understand the logic. If I sold you the property, for 6.8 million, are you gonna spend $1,350,000 then to tear the building down and build a road? No, we're gonna discount that 6.8.
Well, I would if it was good road frontage and I knew that it was gonna attract the buyers I wanted.
We have that, so when can we get together? We'll put together an offer for you to do that. $1 million, $800,000 an acre. That's absolute tops in the market. And that's what the 6.8 million represents. So if you paid the 6.8 plus another $1,320,000, now you're paying over $1 million an acre. People do that, it's not logical to me.
It's just, I guess where I'm ignorant on this subject in a lot of ways, it seems, in my brain, it seems like we could pay 1.3 now and demolish the building now and, run the street and all that stuff now and pay for it ourselves. But this is suggesting in my brain that we sell it to them, then we're gonna end up paying for the road and the building demolition the same way that we would right now.
No. It's gotta come from somewhere one time.
You need to leave it more open for negotiations. So
I think that's good strategy on your part.
No, I'm just saying that's the way I'm thinking.
I know.
That doesn't mean it's right.
But if you do it now, then you.
This
you
$1,350,000.
knock yourself out of potentially paying less to have that done. You know what I'm saying? You might split that cost with them or something.
Okay.
So you may retain more money by not doing it now.
Right.
So you lose a little negotiation and flexibility by.
So you're
going
giving
ahead
and
do it.
taking a little,
Right.
basically.
Well,
We're not gonna be offering that.
No,
I just know it's gonna happen.
right.
This is for your ears and eyes only. We're gonna market it at $6.8 million, as is where is. Say nothing.
We may not have to do that.
But I'm preparing you that the probability is there that they're gonna discount the price, or somewhere along the line that if, the only way that you can not do it, forget about the road.
Because it's a no value to them pay by it all.
But the first 4 months, it'll be very simple. We have 8.67 acres of land, it's 6.8 million. That's all we know. That's what we're offering.
It's ours. If you're interested, make an offer.
But it's our obligation to make you aware of this possibility so that you don't come back and say, oh yeah, well, by the way, that's not how we roll. I mean, full disclosure.
Yeah, I'm just trying to learn through this,
Yeah,
so
I
I'm gonna
understand.
have some questions here.
Me too. I understand.
Madam Chairman, so as I understand these numbers, Mr. Pitts, they are related to the road and the demo, you've provided for us here what you think is our worst case.
Yeah.
So in the earlier discussions, that entire 550 to demo, for example, may be cut in half if someone just demos the end of the buildings. So I think that's, as I understand, that's important to realize here. We
Yeah,
could get a better
scenario.
deal, but your strategy says this is what we need to expect could be the minimum.
we're hoping that doesn't come up.
Right.
But that's not what my experience is telling me. So I wanna be prepared for it. I want you to be aware of it, that's all. I'm not asking you to commit to it, they've gotta negotiate for it.
So stage one, selling it as a whole, we lose the entrance, that triangle piece comes in by the middle, that is part of the property for sale there,
Yeah.
right? So we
Yeah.
lose that piece, then you have to do the rest.
You know, is it unreasonable that we could get a developer to come in and buy the 8.67 and put a building all the way across? And that just becomes a single entrance for that shopping center? And maybe another one 300 feet down and have two? You have to have two. Yeah, and that road might never be put in, we don't know.
Well, the road is, to us, to me, it's not a problem. Because we're keeping, the town of Jonesburg's getting the ball field part, and it's got the road down there on the lower end of it. And we can say that we're gonna use that entrance to come into the bus garage, from the bus garage over to Forest Lane. There's already a road there. We're gonna use it. They ain't no building no road. We ain't gonna, I don't wanna build no road. I mean, if whoever buys it, you know, then I'm gonna make a nice entrance coming off of Forest Lane to come into that part of it. But we've still got an entrance to the back end on that lower side.
It all makes sense to me.
Huh?
It makes sense to me, the strategy. I like it. Yeah.
What are your thoughts about the school building with the inhibitors that you have to deal with? For the private sector, not the public sector, the private sector.
Well, my thoughts are we don't go and tear it down now. I think put it out on the market, just give it some time,
Yeah.
reassess later.
Yeah, my options were by myself, but we'll see.
I think I covered everything.
Well, I'll say for one, I appreciate the research, the detail, presentation, a lot of information, answered a lot of questions. Really appreciate you and Ed and Chris.
We had to do it for ourselves too.
Sure,
You
sure.
know. A developer can size you up really quick. So you better know what you're talking about. Otherwise, our listing agreement is for a year, so after the end of the year, we have to renegotiate our listing agreement. Unless you wanna give us an automatic one-year renewal.
Hopefully it's so believable.
So we have the listing contract has been prepared. Ed can talk about that, if he has some questions about it, or I can try to help too. Like I said, the town can buy it anytime it's available and not, and directly from y'all. And not pay us. If you wanna use us to help negotiate that, then we would reduce our fee in half. We do that with all of our clients. And, but the market price that would be put out there would be 6.8 million. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I like it, and then if there's no more discussion, and Madam Chairman, we enter a motion, we
Yes.
entertain a motion.
Concept plan that meant to give it to you.
As long as you're comfortable with not putting any type of selling stipulations.
We can follow up with that, any sales stipulations, you know, like on use, we can follow up on that. I don't think that would,
That don't,
in my mind, that wouldn't keep us from entering into a listing agreement here.
all right then.
Might be wrong, Mr. Petzl might say, no, we don't want, till we
Yeah,
confirm
the
that,
only-
you don't wanna sign a contract.
I guess the only couple of things, if we need to, if we could.
Deed
there's-
restrictions.
Yeah, deed restrictions on that. I mean, if we.
We address that,
Okay.
pretty quick.
Yeah, cause we'll talk to our school board attorney, I guess.
Well, Scott, I mean.
Has he already looked at this contract? Per se?
I think, yes, I
Okay.
think Scott saw one of them, or not this.
This was revised last
This is
night.
the new one, yeah, I mean, not this one.
He's not seen it, I doubt.
Yeah, we'll send it to him.
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve the listing contract with the caveat of our school board attorney looking over this and making sure he's okay with everything in there, but I'll make that in the form of a motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Can we vote, please, Shannon?
Thank y'all.
Jennifer, I'm a yes also.
Yes.
Okay, all approved.
Thank you.
If you get that one.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you all.
We adjourn and we need to take a 5-minute recess while they reset the tape.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you see the 50?